Hey guys, my name's Caitlin and welcome back to my channel. Firstly, yes, I'm still filming over here even though my business is launched just because my desk took a little bit longer to arrive than I thought, but it is finally here. I will be setting it up probably tonight or tomorrow and then hopefully we can go back to filming in front of the bookcases. Secondly, if you can hear the fan in the background, please excuse that. It is like 30 degrees today, but it's still raining outside and the humidity is just not it today. As you can tell by the title, today I'm filming my February wrap up. This video probably should have gone live last week, but I was at Crook last week, which is why you didn't get a video because I really did not feel like filming, but we are back with this. I hope you enjoy. We're gonna stick with the kind of casual laid-back vibe that I had going in my January wrap-up just to see how it goes because apparently you guys like watching wrap-ups. Let me know. This video is going to be a mess. I can already feel it. So I read 20 books in the month of February, but I do just want to start this by saying not all of them were full length. Quite a few of them were novellas. Case in point, the first book that I read in March was Damaged by Onley James. This is the 3.5 novella in her Necessary Evil series. Shouldn't have hesitated, I knew that. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. I definitely would recommend reading it before you delve into Headcase because Dimitri and Arlo, who are the main characters in this little novella, do make an appearance, however small, in book 4, and I definitely liked having their backstory before delving into it. Okay, next. I was stunned that I didn't know this existed. This is Test Me by Neve Wilder. It's called Number 0 in her extracurricular activities series, but it's just the novella that takes place before Nate and Eric's story. How did I not know this existed? Honestly, I love this series. I love every single book. I think all of them I've given a 5-star rating. I definitely enjoyed this. It was so short, it was so sweet, and I really loved getting to see Jesse and Nate as well before they found their own happily ever afters. I feel like this book and book 1 kind of overlapped a little bit because we did get to see Nate at a certain point, which as soon as I read it, I was like, I know this scene from book 1, and it was so good. This next book is the first full-length novel that I read in March, and that is Headcase by Onley James. How could I not read this book this month, honestly? This is book 4 in her Necessary Evil series, and I think Asa and Zane have taken out my number 2 favorite spot. I did think that this book could read a little heavy at times due to the seriousness of the topic that we were discussing. Like all of her books, at least all of the Necessary Evils books, they're not light. We are dealing with psychopaths ridding the world of people who really do not belong in it. And so of course, to not belong, they're gonna have to do some pretty horrible stuff. So it's never going to be a light and fluffy read when it comes to these guys, but this one I felt just hit a lot harder for some reason. So I tried not to let myself think too deeply about what was going on and really just trying to focus on the relationship aspect between Asa and Zane, which I loved. It was absolute perfection and I cannot wait for Avi's book. Like, I am so keen. I need to stop saying keen. I say that way too much. Okay, next we have another few novellas because this month I found My Book Boyfriend's Boyfriend page on Prolific Works, and I was honestly just going through and reading so many different novellas of authors that I loved, and it was such a good time, let me tell you. So this next novella is Stealing the Show by Lucy Lennox. I think I gave this about 3.5, 4 stars. I feel like you can't really go wrong with Lucy Lennox. Like, this was still super adorable to read about. Like, you've got 2 main characters who are in this Broadway show. They have to kiss each other every show, and every night it happens differently. But off stage, even though they have such chemistry during the show, as soon as they walk off that stage, they think that the other hates them for God knows what reason, when secretly they're both pining after one another. So this was just such a cute, short, sweet read. Next we have Playing Dirty by Beth Bolden. This was actually kind of a new start to her new series. It's going to be her Piranhas series, or at least I'm assuming that's what it's going to be called. I loved that you had 2 rookies who rock up to pre-season training camp, and even though they know that they probably shouldn't get together because it could put their spot on the final roster at risk, both of them are just kind of like, well, what's the point in denying what is so obvious between us? So they did it anyway. But I absolutely loved it. It was adorable, so quick and fun, and I feel like Beth Bolden really nailed the balance between romance and the actual sport aspect of this novel. It was so good to read. I cannot wait for book 1 in this series to come out, and I really hope our boys make an appearance. The next novella is Married to My Best Friend by Riley Hart. I think I gave this maybe a 3.5 stars. It was a very sweet book. I definitely enjoyed reading it. The whole premise was that you've got two best friends. They've been close ever since they were young. One of them is gay, one of them is straight. Very popular topic in romance novels. Alas, the gay best friend is getting married. He's having a bit of a whirlwind Vegas wedding, and lucky for the straight main character, these two guys realize what a mistake they would be making by getting married, because they both realize they're just kind of settling for love when they don't really want to do that. So two best friends end up going on the honeymoon together, where the straight one realizes maybe it's not just friendship that he's feeling for his best friend. That explanation was horrendous. I really didn't write a whole lot about this book in my review, just said very, very cute. This was so quick to read. I really enjoyed it. Okay, this is the last novella for a little while, I promise. There are still a few more coming though. This one is Top Notch Boyfriend by Lauren Blakely. Going to be honest, I don't really remember a whole lot of the plot from this book, except that you've got a professional athlete and then some dude with a British accent, and they happened to meet because they both live in the same part of town. I think they're in San Francisco. Anyway, the athlete needs a date for a weekend in Vegas, and since him and this guy have hit it off so well, he's like, hey, why don't you come to Vegas with me as my fake boyfriend? And then they kind of hit it off, and it's really sweet, and I gave this novella 5 stars because I'm telling you, Lauren Blakely never misses. I swear to God, all of her books, bar that little prequel to Super Hot Wingman. Oh wait, maybe it was Super Hot Wingman. Let me rephrase that. All of her books, bar Super Hot Wingman, because we don't talk about that book over here, I have loved. I read this book. I did go on a little bit of a Lauren Blakely binge. I'm kind of still on it, to be honest. And I added about 4 of her upcoming books to my TBR because I'm so excited. The boys in this little novella are getting their own full-length novel, which I'm really keen for. Next on my Lauren Blakely binge, we have A Guy Walks Into My Bar. I loved this, let me tell you. I gave it 5 stars. I will recommend it to anyone who is watching this video right now because I was obsessed. Okay, the whole thing with this book, why do I not remember any characters' names? I swear to God. You've got MC1, he owns a bar. Kind of self-explanatory there. MC2 is over in London, I believe. Can't even remember where this book is set. Honestly, I am shocking as a booktuber. I shouldn't be allowed to do this. Let's just keep going. Pretend this isn't a train wreck. MC2 is over in London because his sister is studying over there, so she's moving over there, and he just wants to help her get settled. So he walks into MC1's bar and is straight up like, I need this guy in my bed ASAP. He is gorgeous. Enough said. MC1 is playing a little bit hard to get because he doesn't want anything casual. He wants the real deal, but he knows he's not going to get it with MC2 because he's only in London temporarily. So they do strike up a little bit of a friendship. MC2's kind of still trying to get in his pants because why not? And eventually MC1 caves to the chemistry between them and is like, you know what is the harm with some little no strings attached fun for the few days that he's left in London. Of course though, these things never go to plan, and now they're left wondering what the hell are we gonna do about all of these feels when we don't even live in the same country. It was beautiful, it was vulnerable, it was sexy. Like what more do you want, honestly? Okay, I feel like everyone read this book in the month of March, and that is Egotistical Puck Boy by Eden Finley and Saxon James. We have been waiting for this book for such a long time, and I am so bloody happy that we finally got it. I gave this book 5 stars. I knew I was gonna love it before I delved into it because hello, have we ever been disappointed by an Eden and Saxon book before? I don't think so. I must say though, I didn't expect to love it this much. Like reading the CU hockey series, I was like 100% nothing can be better than this, and then along come Ezra and Anton and they're like, sup, I'm here to take your space. I still haven't decided if Ezra and Anton have beaten Beck and Jacobs for my #1 spot. I don't know. I don't want to think too hard about it because I know I'll be here for a while. Next, I picked up To Whom It May Concern by A.M. Johnson. This is a little 3.5 novella in her For Him series before book 4 comes out, which I'm so excited for. I cannot wait. I need it ASAP. This novella was adorable. Reading about Clay and Cyrus was just so sweet, and seeing them fall for one another. I'm pretty sure I read this in someone else's Goodreads review, so I don't know if it's true, that this is actually going to be like a newsletter serial that we're going to keep getting to read about Clay and Cyrus as A.M. Johnson puts out her newsletters. Speaking of, I don't think I'm subscribed to her newsletters. I may need to fix that. Am I? Either way, it was cute. If we get more, I'm gonna love it. This one wasn't particularly steamy, but where it was just as sweet. Pretty much, not pretty much, every book that I read after this point was by May Archer. So if you watched my January wrap up, I'm pretty sure the last or one of the last books that I read was Pick Me by May Archer. It's the first book in her Sunday Orchid series, I think that's what it's called, about Gage and Knox. Absolutely loved it. It was so sweet, and it was the first May Archer book that I'd actually read. So I remember thinking I need to go through, add some more of her books to my TBR, and then last month I decided to pick one up. I figured I would start with her Love in O'Leary series, so I started with the novella The .5 The Date about Cal and Ash and them coming together. It was really cute, absolutely loved it, totally hooked me on the town of O'Leary as well, and I was like, here we go. We're going on another binge. I'm not going to go through every single book in that series and my thoughts on it because we could be here for a while. I'm just gonna say overall, I absolutely loved it. I'm obsessed with O'Leary. I wish I could visit. All of these stories were adorable, like every single one. And May Archer has this way of writing her characters that just like makes your heart feel so full. In every book that you read, right, main characters, they make their assumptions about one another, and more often than not they're resolved. But the way that May Archer writes it, it's like you get to see that point where the main character realizes that their assumptions are incorrect, and they start seeing this other protagonist in a completely different light, and that's when pretty much all of their feelings start to overflow, and it's adorable. I loved it. It happened in every single book in this series, which I'm really happy about. So now I need to get onto her Whispering Key series, which is where we actually meet Gage's brothers from the Sunday Orchid series. So they're all kind of tied together. You don't really need to read them in any particular order. We're going to keep going on a May Archer binge probably at some point this month. Maybe I'll just tell you what I rated each of the books. Whoa, don't mind that glare. Okay, The Date, which was 0.5, I gave 3.5 stars. The Fall, which is book 1, I gave like 3.5, 4 stars. This one did focus a fair bit on death because one of our protagonists had lost his husband the year prior. So it's very much a slow burn. Book 2, The Gift, I did I give it a rating? I think it was a 4-star rating. This was a awakened sexuality, fake relationships novel. Book 3, The Secret, I also gave 4 stars. This was an age gap. It was an enemies to lovers. I love Con and Micah. I think they may have been my favorite. Either them or Jules and Daniel in book 2. Book 4, The Fire, I gave 3.5, 4 stars as well, because somehow I completely forgot that it was a second chance romance until I was about halfway through it, and we all know that I don't really like second chance romances. I think the main reason I didn't really hesitate before delving into it is because we had been waiting so long for Parker and Jamie's story that I was like, there's no way in hell I'm not reading it. But yes, it is a second chance romance, friends to lovers. Book 5, The Night, was definitely a favorite as well. I gave that 4 stars. This was firefighter, forced proximity, second chance romance, which also, it doesn't really read like a second chance romance. It'll make sense when you read it. And then there are also a whole bunch of novellas in this series. So I read The Note, which is a 2.5, gave that 4 stars. It was really cute. The whole thing is based on this major miscommunication, which annoyed a lot of people in the reviews. But if you don't think about it too much, it was rather adorable. Next you have The World, which is set in between books 3 and 4. I think I gave it like 3.5 because it was about a character who I'd wanted to read their romance, but I feel like she could have done so much more with this novella than what we got. Then you had The Castle, which is after book 5. It's a little 5.5. Have to say I wasn't that keen delving into it because I didn't really like the main character, Brian, because he got between one of our couples in a previous book. It was very cute. I feel like it kind of came out of nowhere. So there was that, so I gave it maybe a 3-star, I think. There is one more novella in this series that I don't think I'll be reading because it's not even a character that was mentioned in the main series. It's a character that was solely used as a plot device in another novella, so I don't really know if I care enough to read their story, and I've also seen some reviews of people saying that it's not that great. So, but anyway, those are the books that I read in the month of February. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm pretty sure that was only 19 because I realized there is a book on here that I actually DNF'd just because I wasn't in the mood for it at the time. So apologies. We read 19 books in the month of February. If you made it to the end of this train wreck of a wrap up, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let me know down below if you guys actually enjoy watching wrap ups or if you don't really, because then I might stop filming them. I just feel so unorganized whenever I film a wrap up, honestly, because I feel like I have no idea what I'm talking about, even though I've read all of the books that I discuss, even though it doesn't sound like it half the time. Either way, be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it and hit that subscribe button down below if you'd like to see similar content. My name is Caitlin. I will see you guys next week with another video.